Part of the fun of getting a new bike is setting it up the way you like. Now, I bought this Transalp pretty much bare bones, and then I made a plan about what I wanted to do and spent a few weeks getting all the parts together. So in this video I'll introduce everything I've done, and maybe you'll pick up a few good ideas, or maybe you won't. Right, let's start at the front of the bike and move back. Now you're probably thinking there's nothing there, but what I want to point out is the glass coating I've done on the anodized rims, and most of the other parts actually. I did this with my Svartbilen and I was pretty happy with the results. Your dealer probably offered you glass coating as an optional extra, and over here in Japan it costs about $400 for a bike. But you can do it yourself for much less money because most of the cost goes on labour. It won't be as good as a pro job, of course, but it will be good enough for small parts. I use a Japanese product which is about $25 to do a whole bike, but I'm sure there are plenty of other brands that are just as good. If you're interested, check out my video. I haven't dropped the bike yet, but I'm pretty confident it's going to happen soon. Now, I did look at a lot of engine guards, including the ones from SW Motec, but I ended up going for these very cheap Chinese bars. Now, these only cost 160 Australian dollars from Amazon, and I've done a whole video on these, so please check it out if you're interested. Next up, bark busters. Apart from the beer gut, this is probably the only thing Australia has ever invented. Now, I've had 3 sets of these things and I really like them. My hands just don't feel safe without them. Just one thing I'd like to mention is if you are going to put these on your Transalp, getting the bar end weights out can be a real challenge. They are locked in with some very heavy duty Loctite. I really don't think I could have got them out if I didn't use a heat gun and an impact driver. I also noticed there are some copies appearing on AliExpress. They don't seem to have the spacers or the washers or the replacement bar end weights, so I would avoid that because it'll probably end up being a waste of time and you'll probably end up sending them back for a refund. Your screen is something you're going to be looking at all the time, so you really don't want it scratched, or at least I don't anyway. These screen protectors are just a couple of dollars on AliExpress and they last for a long time, so put them on and you can give your screen a good rub without worrying about causing damage. I'm pretty happy with Honda's RoadSync app and the improved controls on the 2025 model, but I still need access to my phone to do things like change playlists on Spotify. Now, the RoadSync app's turn-by-turn navigation works pretty well, but sometimes I do need to see a more detailed map of Japan's often very confusing roads. So I've been searching for the perfect phone holder for years. I need something that charges and also makes it easy to attach and remove the phone. And also something where I don't have to pull a cable out all the time. This one from MotoWolf, which I got on AliExpress for just over $40 Australian, is perfect for me. The quick release system is good and very sturdy. It has slow and steady wireless charging, which can be turned off and on with this button. Or if you need quick charging, you can attach a cable here. The only negatives are it is a bit heavy and it requires 12 volt power. Now, I didn't want to run a wire down to the battery, so I just made this cable to plug into the accessory socket. Something I didn't spare any expense on was the skid plate. I bought the SW Motec because it's great quality, it looks great, and it even provides some lower engine protection. A heavy bike with a skinny stand is not a great combination. It's fine if you never get off the road, but if you stop somewhere where the ground is even a little soft, the stock stand will sink in and your bike will lean like the Tower of Pisa. Now, I'm not a hardcore off-road rider, but I do spend a lot of time on dirt, gravel and sand, so this side stand foot is a must-have for me. Very simple to put on and very cheap on AliExpress. A centre stand is something that certainly makes life easier on an adventure bike, and I normally wouldn't skimp on this, but if you saw my buying the Transalp video, you'll know I had to adjust my budget because I mistakenly thought the quick shifter was standard in Japan, so I had to cut back on other parts. Now, this centre stand was only 86 Australian dollars, which seemed very risky, but since I could get it on Amazon, I thought, well, I can always send it back. It turned out to be okay, although not perfect. The rubber stopper was very poor quality and it fell out after a while. But they also included a bolt-on stopper with a bolt that was too long, so I just used a grinder to cut the bolt shorter and it turned out to be very good. If you are going to install this yourself, the springs will be the most difficult part. I recommend getting a spring puller because I used a wire brush handle, which ended up getting stuck in the spring and I had to cut it off with a grinder. I often drag my foot over the seat when I get on and off the bike and cause scratches, so a seat cover is pretty necessary for me. Now these are about $10 and $20 on AliExpress, and I think they look okay. They make your seat a little bit softer, and they also increase airflow in summer. There are a lot of carrier plates available for this bike at around $50 Australian, but I went for a pretty expensive one because I wanted the strongest one I could find. This one is welded all round, and it's very strong and has great slots for attaching straps. I also use my bike for getting around town and shopping, so a top box makes life a lot easier. This is just one of the many standard top boxes available on Amazon for around 120 Australian dollars. This one comes with a little light you can stick inside the lid, which I thought was a pretty useless gimmick, but it's actually very practical. It lights up the inside of your box at night when you open the lid. It's very handy. And finally, panniers. I found these budget-friendly cases from China give me the security and the convenience I need. I have 2 videos about them on my channel, so check them out if you think these are what you're looking for. If you got something out of this video, please give it a like, and if you have any questions, please drop a comment. Well, now I've got the bike all set up the way I like, I just need some warm weather to come back so I can have a few adventures in Japan. If you're interested in that, please consider subscribing. Till next time, thanks for watching.